it's your girl Alexis. Welcome if you are new. Please do not forget to subscribe, y'all. I need y'all to subscribe. If y'all watching more than 1 or 2 of my videos and you're not subscribed, why are you not subscribed? To make it to 500 subscribers before the end of this year or even early next year, y'all, because you will be surprised at how many people watch my YouTube channel and are not subscribed. Because my views at this point is like over 100K and I only have 346 subscribers. So the views and the subscribers is not matching up. So I need them to match up. Sorry, y'all, for the sun being so bright. You see how bright it is? It kind of like cancels me out a little bit. So I'm gonna like move in a little bit. It's been something, y'all. And I wanted to update y'all on this because I want to be able to help people or just let those same people know that you're not alone. If you're dealing with father issues and you're 29 years old like me, it's a huge like epidemic. I don't even know if that's the right word, but it just seemed like in the black community, because I'm gonna speak on what I know. In the black community, it's like there isn't fathers in the home. And if I had to guess a percentage of even just other people that's in my age group, that's millennials like me, that's approaching 30 like me, I can say that majority of us, probably like 80% of us grew up without a father in the home. Like, I feel like that's the right percentage of all of us who have grown from the same decade that grew up without a father in the home, like 80% of us. And then the rest of that percentage, after 80%, is half of that is either the stepfather or their actual father. I would advise you too that if you have never seen the video where I talked about me and my father's relationship, I advise you to go do that. I think I did that video almost 2 years ago, I want to say. I would advise you to watch my first video when I talk about me and my father's relationship, because when I talk about it in this part 2, there is going to be like certain things that I would kind of like finish from part 1. And you really wouldn't understand like some of the stuff that I say in this part because you don't understand the first part of what I mentioned about me and my father's relationship. Our fathers are supposed to teach us. Our fathers are supposed to be our first love. Our fathers are supposed to teach, you know, their daughters how a man is supposed to treat her and respect her and love her. They're supposed to show us that. So imagine not having your father around, and then when he is, he's just not being a father still, you know? And it's just hard to like really navigate when you date and stuff like that, because I had a lot of issues when I was dating and when I was unhealed. I was dating a lot of men that were just like my father, unemotionally available. And I didn't realize that until a couple years ago. So, you know, and at the same time too, I would advise anyone, mainly women, if you don't have a good relationship with your father, I would advise you to still get around your father and get to know him as best as you can, because then you will see how your father is and you will know when you out here dating what men to date and what men not to date. You know what I'm saying? Like me really staying with my dad for them 8 months really helped me like fully understand who he is as a man and help me navigate, you know, when it comes to me dating, should and shouldn't date. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because then when I found that out and I did start dating, I was able to like be like, nope. Okay, you know. The last time I had talked to my father was when I was turning 26 years old. I am now 29, almost 30. The reason why I had talked to him when I was 26 was because he was basically harassing my sister. And I'm not for sure if I mentioned this in the part 1, but I just feel like I just need to start from that point. And when I last heard from him, harassing my sister. So I was like, give him my number, it's fine. He called me, wished me a happy birthday on my 26th birthday. And that was the year too that I had made my own seafood boil, y'all. And it was so good. That was the last time I heard from my father on my 26th birthday. I am now 29 years old. I want to say at the end of March, I got a text message from my mom. She sent me a screenshot. My father was basically trying to reach out to me. My grandfather had passed away, and even me and my grandpa, his father wasn't even really that close. My grandpa and my father are very similar. I didn't have a close relationship with them. I didn't really know them like that. talked to him. I called him that day because that's very devastating to hear. It's the pandemic, and then, you know, I had been reaching out to my grandparents off and on, and like I will reach out to them because I know they're getting older. They're in that big old condo by themselves. I just will offer help, you know what I'm saying? I would be like, do y'all need any help with anything? And there will be a few times when I will call and he would be like, yeah, I need some help with some things, but he would never follow up on it. And that was always something he always did. Like, he'll be like, oh, we're gonna go out and catch up and and he never calls me up to follow up on that so that we can actually go out. The first phone call when I called my father about my grandpa's passing, days later, I was talking to my father again, and he was going over to his sister's house, which is my auntie, and we gonna call her Auntie R. So we were going over Auntie R house because he said she was having a gathering. Like, okay, cool, you know. So then this is gonna be my first time actually meeting my father's new wife since she's been his wife, because I met her before she was his wife, and that was just for like a couple of seconds, you know, and they were out the door, and that's that. But now I'm seeing her as his wife now. They pull up, pick me up. At that time I didn't have my car yet. My Auntie R house. And I'm just like, yeah, so when is Granny's birthday? Because I'm like, I know she's an Aries, and I know it's Aries season now. And he like, oh, it's her birthday today. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's good, you know. So they were having a get together, which I thought was very great, especially because we were going through a very emotional time. We didn't have the funeral arrangements and stuff like that set. I think that was, you know, so it was very, very fresh still. And it was just good to celebrate my granny's birthday. Found out too that my granny has dementia, and it's just so crazy, y'all, because, you know, I would say I was definitely way more closer to my granny than I was my grandpa. I definitely knew my granny, you know what I'm saying? Like, I knew who she was as a woman, and me and her have had numerous of talks and spending time together, going shopping, and just watching America's Funniest Home Videos, and just always spending a lot of time with each other. Look, y'all, I'm getting a little emotional. It just breaks my heart to, you know, to know that like my granny has dementia, you know, all around the same time that my grandfather passed away. And it's almost like hearing that, like, damn, both of my grandparents are dead, you know, but instead my granny is like basically dying slowly in the brain. I got to see all my first cousins for the first time in many years. Pretty much me, my sister, and my other brother, and a few more of my cousins, 2 more of my cousins, the ones that don't got kids yet, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, pretty much everybody else, first cousins, they all got kids. And some of them are married. And it's literally just like 4 or 5 of us that don't have kids yet. I just got married. Almost every day I was talking to my father. And it's just something, because I thought that, you know, I was never going to be talking to my father again. Like, I thought I was never going to hear from him again. And I never thought about, like, wow, what if one of my grandparents passed away? Like, I didn't even think about that, you know. Every day I was talking to my father, just, you know, just regular stuff, like, you know, how are you, how was your day? He point where like we were meeting up, you know, at some of the family members' houses. Like, we went over to first my Auntie R house, and then we went over my Uncle E house, do the obituary basically, you know what I'm saying? I had never been, I don't think I remember ever being a part of something like that. I'm glad that they decided to include me. My father's side of the family, they don't include me in anything. Even my own father don't include me in anything. I'm glad that they decided to include me too, because one of my aunties had passed away, my granny's sister. And I was pretty close with my auntie. It's heartbreaking that I didn't even get to know that my auntie had passed away. Heartbreaking that my, you know, father didn't reach out to me even then when my auntie had passed away, because it's just like, that was someone that was very significant too, you know, especially on that side. And it just seemed like I was finally getting to know people on my father's side of the family, because I just feel like as a kid growing up, I didn't really know people, you know. I was around all these aunties and uncles and first cousins, and I didn't really know nobody, you know what I'm saying? I didn't really hear from nobody unless I was around. When I wasn't around, I didn't hear anything, you know what I'm saying? Just fast forward, y'all. My grandpa's funeral ended up being in April. My grandma, she came with me. My mother's mom, she came with me, and she held my hand, and I was so glad that she came, because my grandma, you know, she knew my granny and my grandpa. She even was able to tell me stories about when she first met my grandparents. I couldn't even get up there and say anything on the stand. I couldn't, and just still like, I cannot believe this. And I'm not to say that I'm a shy person, but I didn't want all that attention, you know, because there was a lot of other people in that room that I had never met. Every day leading to my grandpa's funeral, me and my father was talking, calling each other. He was calling me, I was calling him, and it was just, and even after the funeral, he was calling me, I was calling him. Very shocking to me, because I'm just like, my father don't call me, you know what I'm saying? Like, he do not call me. Like, now it's week 1, week 2, week 3, my father's calling me and actually caring about how my day is and how I am, and have a good day. Like, this is shocking, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is like, wow, you know, like, I don't really know how to react, you know. 3 months all together, me and my father staying in contact, me and my father hanging out. It was a time where, you know, we went out to my grandparents' house to do the moving and stuff, and like, we went to go get some food because my dad is a foodie. I'm a foodie too. We were going over to my auntie Kay house, which is his sister too, and we had brought her some McDonald's, and we had McDonald's too. And like, while we were leaving out and getting in the car, he was like, look at us hanging out like we cool and stuff. And I'm just like, what you mean by like, look at us hanging out like we cool? Because in my mind, we're cool. Like, what's the beef, you know? An elephant in the room with us? Yeah, it is. Is there some dirt underneath the rug? Yeah, there is. But I'm not the type of person that starts drama. I'm not the type of person that's just rah, 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 rah. Me personally, I would rather talk about things in a civilized manner and solve the problem and get through it. And it's like, problem solve with me. You know, I'm not straight to violence. If I'm straight to violence, that's because you have violated me in numerous ways. And yeah, that's when I just go straight to violence. Yeah, so after that, y'all, he was taking me home. So that same day, you know, and then I was just like, so what you mean, you know? And he was just like, you know how girls be hanging out and like they cool and they be going here and going there, hanging out and kikiing and stuff. And he was just like, you know, like that basically. And I was just like, oh, okay. But in my mind, I'm just still like, well, why would we not be cool, you know? Like, because to him, he knows that there's underlying issues that you have not solved. So here I am with you after how long? Not even for sure how I feel about you. You don't know what I'm thinking about you, you know? All you know is that I'm calm, cool, and collected, and I'm not rah, 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 and I'm not cussing you out. There was definitely an elephant in the room, but I look past that because I'm just like, I'm here for my grandpa. I'm gonna just show up and help and be here for my grandpa. Got me home, we outside the house, and pretty much we just got into my upbringing, him. It was just like, I'm sorry I was never there. My father only told me to just work hard and take care of your kids, you know, basically pay child support. And that's all he knew to do as a father, as a man. He wasn't taught to, as a father, to be there emotionally and physically. He wasn't taught those things. So it was just like hearing that, like, okay, you know, I can't fault you on that. So 50% of that, I can't fault you on because of that. Now I know your childhood. Now I know your upbringing. But the other 50% is on you. It's on you. So the other 50%, I'm just like, yeah. And I've never had a room at any of the houses that you ever had. But guess who had a room? My stepmother's sister. And he just like, oh, why you ain't never said no? Why you ain't never said? Because I shouldn't have had to. I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? I was a kid. And I said that. I was like, I was a kid. Like, what do you wanted me to come to you as an adult? And I was a kid. I was just like, I didn't care about the money. I didn't care about the money. I didn't care about the child support. But then at the end of the day, it's just like with the child support, I never saw that money. You know what I'm saying? That money never went towards me getting clothes and shoes and panties and bras and my hair done, and you know what I'm saying? That money never went to that. As far as I know, no. That child support money went to the bills so that I could have a roof over my head, as what my mother said, you know. But me personally, I don't know. I know I'm not a mother yet, but I just feel like if you get in child support as a mom, you should use that money for the kids. You should use it for their clothes, their shoes, to keep their hair right, so that your kid don't be walking around looking a mess or feeling like they're not being taken care of, you know? Because to a kid, you're using that child support because I'm still going without, you know? And I was still going without. And like when I would be around my father, I would be asking him for these things, and basically he would be pissed off because he just like, that child support should have been going to these things, you know. But he still had to buy me shoes and stuff like that outside of it, which it really wasn't even that much when he did buy me shoes. I think he only bought me shoes one, maybe two times. But I remember one time, you know, he bought me some shoes. It's like, it's never enough, you know. Being a parent, just providing for your kids financially, that's not enough. It's just not enough. Point blank period. It's not enough. It will never be enough. You know, he was just saying to me like, oh, you know, I wasn't ready pretty much at that age. You know, I think my mom got pregnant with me at 18 and had me at 19. And he was just like, you know, I wasn't ready. My dad was the type that grew up with parents who pretty much had some money, you know. They had mansions with pools in the back, you know. The family Rottweiler dog, and they were, you know what I'm saying, living it up. And I think even at that time, like my dad, he had a red Camaro, you know. It was an old Camaro, but it was, you know, because it was back in that time. But it was like, I think he had a red Camaro, I think so. And it was a drop top. So I remember him telling me stories. My mama even told me this story of how when I was a baby, like a toddler age, sitting in the back seat, in the car seat, and my dad just flying, and he got my cousin R. He was like, yeah, I was driving fast, and you like it when I go fast, and it take away your breath, and you always be smiling when you stop, and you can start breathing. You always be smiling, laughing and stuff. And I was just like, really? Like, I used to like when the air take my breath away, and then I'll be laughing and stuff. Like, that's funny. How the police pulled him over, and he thought that like the police were gonna take me. So like he was telling his cousin, which is still my cousin too, that you gonna have to take her, because I don't want them to take her to, you know what I'm saying, the system and stuff. So, but they let him go, you know. But you know, that just let me know too that like at that time you were still in a 19-year-old boy mindset. You wasn't ready for no type of kids. You wasn't ready for that type of responsibility, you know. You was living life and living it free with no attachments, for real. He wasn't ready, you know. He wasn't even there when I was born. He was getting married to my then stepmother, you know. And they're now divorced. Hearing him say all of these things, it was nice to get an apology, but at the same time, like I said, a few years back, I had already opened up that father wound, and I healed it in therapy, and I healed it doing my own shadow work. I don't want to say rituals, but like, you know, having my own little ceremonies, and just, you know, just really, really helping myself heal that wound, you know. Because then once I did that and I got back out into the dating scene, I was a lot more aware, and I was able to see the type of men for who they really are in a heartbeat, you know what I'm saying. Like I knew if I was talking to a guy, immediately I would be able to tell if he was emotionally available or not. So, you know, that's why I'm like, him telling me I apologize, it didn't really do anything, you know. It was nice for the little girl in me to hear that, but at the same time, I still would have been okay if I never heard it, you know. I was getting married. I found out my date. I'm getting prepared. I don't have a job, but I'm hustling. And it's crazy because my therapist, she was telling me, do not tell him. She was like, don't tell him until after you come back and get married, you know. And I really, 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 really wish I would have listened. And it's like the other part to that was like, one of the days that we were driving to my auntie our house, like I have food stamps, y'all. And I was selling my food stamps to someone that's like a friend of the family. I mean, an inconvenience transaction for my end, because I always had to travel to her, go to a bank to cash the check. The banks are taking $6 or $7, and they doing this for 2 years. I don't know. Add that up for 2 years, 12 months. The banks is taking $6, $7 from me. I don't know how much that is, but they took it from me. And that's extra money that I could have kept, you know. And I just feel like she was so close to my mom. Why couldn't you just put it cash in the envelope and give it to my mom? Drop it off at her house. Drop it in her envelope. You know what I'm saying? But some people just, they don't make it easy for you. You know, they make it harder. You know? Yeah, like, yeah, you know, I'll be selling my stamps and I'm about to get them back, and now I got to find somebody else to sell them to. Tired of having to do, you know, so much just to get it every month, and then I want to get paid a little bit more. So I'm like, I'm trying to find somebody now to include him in my life some kind of way, you know, because I wasn't telling him anything personal about myself. He didn't know anything that was going on, you know, and he didn't have a right to know anything that was going on. So like the bridge card and me telling him that was a step to like me inviting you into my life so you know a little bit about it. But like he agreed to buy it from me. He agreed to pay me $200, and then he was like, is $200 enough? He kept saying it. Is it enough? 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 Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, well, shoot, he keep pressing it. So can you give me $220? You know? And he's like, okay, yeah, I can do $220, you know? And I only get like $291 now. Because at first I was getting $281. Now I'm getting $291. Give me $220. That might be a little too high, especially when you go by the prices of like when you selling stamps. It was a little bit over, which I feel like, yeah, you should look out for me. I'm your daughter, you know what I'm saying? Like, we were doing that exchange for a good 2 months, no problems, and we were still communicating in those 2 months, no problems. I had talked to my therapist because I was just like, me and my father is communicating every day, and it's been like 2 months now, and it seemed like we're building a relationship, and this is new for me. I've never done this, and I feel like, you know, this time around when we were dealing with each other, this was the longest we had kept in contact. Because any other time my dad would reach out to me, because it always was like this, he had to reach out to me, then he would come see me, pick me up, we go out to eat. You know, he'll try and talk about same old sob, this, that, and that. We'll watch the first video, and then it's just like, maybe or maybe not, I will come out to his house, see my siblings, spend time with them over the summer, whatever the case may be. And then I come back home, go back to school, and then it's just I don't hear from him. The part where he apologized to me. So pretty much after that, like I said, I went to my therapist telling her all of that. And she was just like, you know, you set up your own boundaries, you know. She was like, if it's just, but you know what, I'm gonna come back to that. So the whole bridge card transaction stuff, y'all, I'm gonna go to that. 2 months we was doing the transaction with no problems, y'all. 2 months. 3rd month, now I'm really planning for my wedding. Now every dollar counts, you know. And I had needed to get a veil. That was the only thing I needed to get. Well, I needed to get a veil, and I needed to get my wedding dress because I didn't have that. So I was on Shein looking at wedding dresses, and you know, I know the price for the wedding dress that I wanted. Thank God my grandma got it for me, but I needed a veil, so I ordered a veil. But Shein played me on my veil, and I still never got my veil. Anyways, that's why you never order from something that don't have reviews. That thing didn't have no reviews, but I was so in love with that veil. I just had to have it. But anyways, those are the 2 things that I needed. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm back talking to my dad. You know, maybe all of this is orchestrated from God. Maybe it's a reason for all of this. And I'm like, I really want to include him on this. It didn't feel right for me to go and get married and then not tell my dad until afterwards. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, I should include him now. Like, he should know now. You know, that was 50% of it. Then the other half of it, I wanted to see if he was going to pay me early, if he could. So then that way I could order my dress and have everything and leave on time, you know. And even at that time, my ticket, you know what I'm saying? I was trying to make the money to get my ticket. Like, I got to get my dress, you know. But honestly, I think even at that point, still trying to get my tickets. The IT systems was down for all the airports. The hurricane stuff was going on with the, just everything, you know. It's hurricane season in July. To fly anywhere, it's expensive in July. Then the IT problem happened in July. So I'm just like, wow, all of this stuff going on, you know. But I'm like, regardless, I'm going to get ready to get married because I'm getting married July 31st. My father comes over literally on Father's Day so I could talk to him in person about it, because I had been trying to talk to him about it, because he did come over one time to bring me a piece of cake from his wife, because she's a Gemini. So I think her birthday was in June. They came by, but I wanted to talk to him, but they had to go because they had to go out to eat. So I was just like, fine, just come back. And he came back for Father's Day, and I told him in person that I was getting married. You know, he gave me advice. He gave me advice about a Bible scripture. He was saying something. I felt like he was being a little shady with this one, but at the same time, I kind of get it. It was like 50-50, you know. And like, I understand the whole part of, yeah, you don't really know somebody until you live with them. But you know, I had said that to my mom, and immediately she was just like, your story is different. And I'm like, right, like everybody's love story is different. So at the same time, I understand what you mean by you don't really know somebody until you live with them. But everybody's love story is different. When you just know, you know. And for some people, their soulmate is on the other half of the world. And until they can actually get on the other half of that world, or get on a dating site, or that person comes over to the other part of the world where they're at, they'll find each other, and they're going to have to be long distance. They're going to have to you know? And then like another thing too, when I said that to my mom, she was just like, and then he said that too, because he was like, that's how I knew I was going to marry her. He was like, I had to live with her, see how it was, and And my mom was just like, what type of advice is that you give it to your daughter? And I'm like, right, because actually the traditional way, if we really want to talk about it, you're supposed to get married first before you move in with your husband. That's how it's been traditionally. Okay, that's how it's supposed to be. But a lot of us move in with our boyfriends, get pregnant, or a lot of us move in with our boyfriends and then get married after that. You know, when it's actually supposed to be marriage, then y'all move in. You know, me and my husband, it's just always been traditional for us. Like from the beginning, him reaching out to me on the site as a man and approaching me got me off of that site as a man. Like, he's a leader, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, you're showing me so much leadership roles, and I really just felt so like, yes, I want to follow you, you know what I'm saying? So it was just like, it's just very traditional between me and my husband. My mom was just like, what type of advice is that you giving your daughter? Like, and I'm like, right. Cause she like, yeah, you is supposed to get married and then move in. Like, and I'm just like, basically my father wanted me to move in with a man first. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know what I'm saying? Then he's supposed to pose after that. No, he's supposed to do that before we move in. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's the advice he gave me, and I'm just like, whatever. I appreciated the Bible verse, because I appreciate any advice anybody give me about God. Like, that'll never be thank you, you know what I'm saying? Because I love God. God is a foundation for me and my husband. A couple that prays together stay together, you know. That was that. And I had to tell him, like, I'm getting married, you know, I need to get paid early. He was just like, oh, we're gonna have to see, I'm gonna have to ask my wife, because basically I think his wife is in charge of the money, like where it goes, the transactions, you know what I'm saying? She's in control of all that. In marriages, the woman is in control of the money. Like, the man will make the money and bring it home, but then the wife is in charge of like sorting the money. Like, this is for this bill, this is for this bill, this is for this, and The women are in control of that, you know. So it didn't surprise me that she was in control of that, and we had to wait on her. And then basically when he got back to me, he was like, no, we can't pay you early. So I was like, wow, you know. Like, it's crazy too, because like his wife knew that I was getting married before he did. Because when we was at my auntie our house, and like we was having a few drinks, you know, getting to know each other, talking. And I just feel like for me, when I talk to Geminis, they're so much easier to talk to. They're, you know what I'm saying? They give you good advice, at least the ones I've talked to. His wife knew that I was getting married before he did, you know, because I felt safer to open up to her too as well. And I'm glad she never told him, because then that would have broke what we was building. He couldn't pay me early. I was struggling, trying to pay for stuff, you know. Then he pays me and doesn't pay me the extra 20. So I text him. And he's just like, what money? You know what I'm saying? He said it just like that in a text. And like, you can't necessarily figure out someone's tone when they're texting you. But a lot of stuff can get misconstrued when you text them. And people can take it another way when it's not that. Or it might be that, you know, you never know. So that's why I don't like to text about certain things, and I like to talk, because I don't know where your head at. I don't know your tone. I need to see, you know what I'm saying? I need to know that, especially with certain things. And you know, I broke it down to him. Left me on red. I don't know how many days, I think a day or two, he left me on red. So I was calling him, he didn't answer, texting him, not answering, you know. So then I leave voicemails, because at this point, now you're trying to cheat me like the first situation. So that's why I said, if y'all have not seen that other video about me and my father's relationship, you need to, so that you know about what I mean by now you're cheating me for the second time. So he's cheating me for the second time now, y'all. He don't want to pay me this extra $20 when he don't even know that, like, I need this extra $20 to get me a veil for my wedding, you know? So that was really pissing me off. I had the right to go off on him, especially because of what all I was dealing with too, with trying to get married and long distance and all these documents and this and that and UPS and it was so crazy. That's why I am gonna sit down eventually and do the video talking about me getting prepared for my wedding and what it's like to get prepared for a long distance relationship, because it's not as easy as you think. You have to have certain paperwork, and you got to go certain places to get paperwork, and you got to pay for this paperwork, pay for that, and you know. And yeah, so I will do a video talking about me getting prepared for my wedding and like talking about my wedding and, you know, just everything. She didn't want to pay me that $20, and pretty much I had already told him anyways that I was planning on getting a job, you know, when I come back from out of town. I'm finna get me a job, so once I get me a job, I'm gonna need my bridge card back. So I'm mentioning that to him again, and I'm just like, yeah, so I'm finna get it back, you know. I'm leaving him voicemails and telling him basically like it's wrong. Like, I wasn't cussing at him, I wasn't screaming at him, I was talking in a very normal tone, but I'm just letting it be known that, like, damn, like, you cheating me again for the second time. Like, wow, that's crazy. He didn't know my tone either when I was texting him this too about me getting my bridge card back. He felt offended when I sent him that text message about, yeah, I'm gonna need my bridge card back in August, you know what I'm saying? So he got offended about that, but never told me that though. Went and told his wife though how he was feeling about this whole situation. And when I was calling him at that point, he had made it home and he said he was cooking, and he was like, oh, I'm gonna call you back when I'm cooking. And I'm like, oh, okay, and never called me back. And it's just crazy because any other times when I have called him, he literally was at home and was cooking fries and cooking onion rings, and you were able to answer me then. But now that you know that it's a problem and you don't like nobody to check you or hold you accountable, now you like, oh, avoiding, I don't wanna, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, wow, that's crazy. He was avoiding me, didn't want to get into it, and I was just basically left with all my feels, and I felt cheated again, you know. And yeah, and it was just crazy because my husband was just like, he was like, well, you know how he was before, you know how he do business before, so why would you do it again? And it's just like, when my husband said that, I calmed down so much, and I just was like, damn, he right, you know, he right. And I was even a little upset with my husband too, because of all the stuff we was doing to get ready for the wedding. I was a little frustrated with him, you know. When you planning for a wedding, it's not peaches and cream. It's stressful as F-U-C-K with an exclamation point. And you know what I'm saying? And then it's even more stressful because you're long distance, and it's just like, what the you know what I'm saying? What the F, y'all? I didn't hear from him. And like that next morning, his wife texted me, and me and her got on the phone, and she basically was breaking down on how he was feeling and stuff he was saying, and how he thought I meant this, how he thought I meant that, and da-da-da. And I'm just like, why he's not telling me this? That's why I called him on the phone, for him to tell me this. You know what I'm saying? Instead, he's telling you how he feels about me and our situation, which don't got nothing to do with her, but yet he's including her like she's a mediator or something. She's not our mediator, you know? And that's why I didn't really even want to that close to my dad and really talk to my dad like that unless we had got a mediator first. You know what I'm saying? That's what I said. And I was just like, I don't ever want to be around him or talking to him until we get a mediator, because stuff ain't right between us, and it ain't gonna never be right, you know, even when, because my intentions is always good, it's always pure. But with him, he's unhealed and he's still suffering from things that he's still not taking accountability for. So it's just like, I basically did put myself in that situation. I did. It was 50% my fault of why I was going through that with him, because I decided to give him another chance. I was being nice. Once again, in that situation, being nice and being too forgiving when I shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? When I shouldn't. Our relationship went great to bad. And a matter of, you know what I'm saying, weeks before I was getting married. And I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and stress over this with you. You the last person who I want to be going back and forth with, because I really don't care about you, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? I do just fine without my father in my life, you know. And honestly, I would have rather never had him in my life than having him in and out, because you don't miss something that you've never had. You know, you damage your child more when you in and out rather than just staying gone, you know. And it's just crazy on that conversation that I had with his wife. Like, she's saying all these things, saying his emotions, saying how he cries. And I'm just like, well, I've never seen him cry. So to me, he don't even look like a person that ever cries. And she like, oh, he cries. Oh, he said he loves you, and oh, he's worried. He was worried about you. He's worried. He was worried about you when you went to DR. That's her telling me this when I came back and stuff. Oh, he was worried about you going to DR and da da da. Not even knowing that I already been there. I'm safe. I'm fine. My husband is fine. You know, I'm good. So, you know, it was just crazy, that conversation I had with me and his wife. Because I'm just like, basically everything you telling me, why is my father scared to open up to me? Why is he scared to tell me these things, you know? And, you know, it's just crazy because, like, literally last week I was sitting up and I was thinking about me and him, and I was just like, I don't think he's ready to be a father. I don't think that my father, even almost 50 years old, my father is almost 50 years old. Ooh, I like that light. My father is almost 50 years old and he's still not ready to be a father to me. And that's just what I come up with in my head from just sitting and thinking, and because I'm like, it makes sense. He's still not ready to be a father to me. His mind is still at when he found out my mom was pregnant with me. It's still there. Like, oh, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. He's not ready. And I don't think he ever will. Because if he was, when we was just in contact, that would have been the best time to make it right. And I mean, make it right for real. You know? He never called me, never apologized to me, you know, and it's just like, you came back in my life to bring a stressful situation and to blame me for whatever and play victim and cry in front of your wife and boo-hoo-hoo. You know what I'm saying? Nah. Mm-mm. He's the type of person that throws rocks and hide his hands. But I think I gave that analogy in the first part where I was just like, he's the type of person that's stabbing you. And you looking at him stab you, right? So he just stabbing you. And you like, you stabbing me. And he like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Like, he's literally that type of person. So I'm just like, dealing with somebody that's like that is never going to take accountability for nothing that they do to you. And anything that you do, that they do to you, and you tell them, they still don't want to take accountability. It's all you. So, you know, people like that, I just leave them right where they at. You know what I'm saying? Because if we couldn't problem solve, if we couldn't work it out now, after how many years now, it's not going to get worked out. Because now on you, you don't want to heal. You don't want to take accountability. You know what I'm saying? And I've been in therapy for, I want to say 4 years now, maybe. But, you know, I've done a lot of healing, you know. And I don't want to be around people who don't want to take accountability for nothing that they do. Are you serious? You know what I'm saying? I've come too far in my healing journey to be dealing with people who don't want to take accountability for stuff that they do to me. No, you're not going to be in my life. So that's why I just leave people right where they at. So fast forward, I'm telling my therapist about that situation, and she just like, you know, you could create your own boundaries, because she still wanted me to contact him. She still wanted me to talk to him, and you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, and she wanted me to create boundaries with him at that point. She wanted me to be like, well, if only contacting him once a month is good enough for you, let it be like that. She was like, you don't have to talk to him every day. Thank you for telling me this, but I'm just at a point where I'm just ready to leave him right where he at again. You know? I, you know, around the funeral and stuff, I was able to get my uncles and my aunties' phone numbers, even exchange Facebook. I could be in contact everyone and stay in contact with everyone, so that when my granny does transition over, that they can contact me, or I can contact them, or I'll see it on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? And I won't have to be contacted by my sperm donor, because that's all he is to me. He would never be my father. And the only reason why I say my father, because I have to let y'all know who this person is, you know. Other than that, he's I don't know that man, because he don't respect me. You know what I'm saying? It's very obvious he don't respect me, and he don't really truly love me. You know what I'm saying? He could say he do, but I don't believe it. You know what I'm saying? Because where are you? You know? And like, his birthday was in August. Well, August 5th is his birthday. So like, I was over my auntie our house visiting my granny, and it was his birthday. Totally forgot. And they just like, oh, don't give up on him, don't give up on him. This is my granny. She like, don't give up on your dad. I know it's hard. And, and I'm just like, look, I ain't dealing with nobody who make it hard. You know what I'm saying? Point blank, period. If I'm dealing with you and we already got a strenuous relationship because on account of you, and I'm still giving you chances and you still making it hard, baby, just leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? Just leave me alone. I promise you I will be good. Because a lot of the times, really 100% of the people that I had to cut out of my life, I don't look for them. I don't look for them. I don't go checking for them. I don't beg them to be back in my life. I don't care. You know, if anything, I've had a peaceful life since I've cut out everybody that I've cut out. Like, honestly, truthfully, peaceful. I'm glowing. I'm beautiful than I've ever been more beautiful. You know what I'm saying? I did gain back some weight, but it's going back down. But yeah, you know, my life is terrific without those toxic people. I want my dad to stay out of my life. You know what I'm saying? I just want him to stay out of my life. And it's like, now there's no other reason for him to contact me. Oh, I skipped. So his birthday, right? I'm over my auntie our house visiting my granny. And like, I decided to text him and say happy birthday. And after the happy birthday, I was just like, contact me whenever you're ready to talk. I'm here. And he never responded. Like, when I realized he didn't even respond, I really even felt more of a type of way. And it was just like, you know, I felt it, but then I let it go. Because I was just like, I can't be stuck in a father womb that I've already healed from. You know, now I'm just creating another womb that don't even need to be created. When it's just like, I just need to feel these feelings and just let it go. He actually ready to work it out and work it out with a mediator. Because that's the only way that my father is ever going to be in my life, for real, is if we meet in front of a mediator. Because, yeah, it's not even cool to just even try and deal with him at all. It's just not, you know. And I don't like how, you know, his wife was kind of trying to paint a picture of, well, you know, he's grieving right now. And basically, you should have known the state of mind that he was in, and you shouldn't have never let him agree to paying you $220. You know, she tried to kind of paint it like that. And I'm just like, I wasn't trying to take advantage of him if you thought that what it was. She's just like, no. Like, she's like, that's not what I was saying either. But it's just like, anyways, I don't need to be on the phone with you. I need to be on the phone with my father, because you don't have nothing to do with this. You don't know anything about our relationship. And really, you married a man that don't like to resolve his issues. Starting off with his kids, he don't have a relationship with none of his kids, for real, you know. And I just feel like our siblings who stayed with him, they probably still talk to him, deal with him, but that's because they grew up with him in the home. So like, he is definitely a father figure to them, because he had raised them in the home. Now, I know they got some issues towards him though, especially with their mom and stuff, and all the whole divorce and how everything had to be split. I know, because my sister was telling me all the stuff that was going on. So I know they feel some type of way. They feel some type of way towards our dad. And like, my now stepmom, his new wife, was telling me how they even invited them, I think, to Florida for Christmas one year, and they didn't even show up. And I think that she was even saying like they were going to pay for their flights, and all they had to do was just pretty much show up, and they didn't show up, you know. And I'm just like, yeah, because he don't know how to talk to his kids. He don't really know how to even hold himself accountable. So until he learn how to hold himself accountable, he won't have no relationship with none of his kids, or he definitely won't have one with me. And she was just like, it's sad because I really enjoy talking to you, and I really love building this relationship. She like, I want to get to know all of y'all, you know, me and my other siblings. She don't know none of us, you know. And she was just like, I would love to have all of us in the same room, me, you know, you and your siblings, and me and my kids, us all get together holidays, you know, once a month. She's like, once a month, me and my family, we do something once a month, whether it's go out to eat, go bowling. You know what I'm saying? We do something once a month because we want to keep that bond, you know. And I was like, I love family stuff like that. But everybody family dynamics is different, you know. Some people family dynamics, they really need to work shit out with their kids, you know. And it's just crazy how stubborn your parents will be, you know. Like, Yeah, my sperm donor, he's very stubborn and he don't think his shit stink. You know what I'm saying? So what can you do when you're dealing with somebody who don't think they shit stink? You're just gonna be like, oh, okay, you don't think your shit stink? Okay, well, I'm gonna leave you in this room with your shit until you smell it. And it's like, it's been how long and you still don't smell it? And you about to be 50 and you still don't smell it? Like, wow. I don't know. I just know I couldn't marry a man if I didn't know his kids. If I didn't get a chance to spend a certain amount of time with his kids before we got married, we're not getting married. Like, point blank in a period. You know? I couldn't do it. That would be my requirement. Before I marry you, I want to get to know your kids too. I want to spend enough time with your kids too. And I want to see y'all dynamic too. You know? Because then she would have got to understand that he don't have a relationship with none of us. And that none of us is going to be in the same room with him. All kiki and laughing up like everything is jolly good. No, because there's some problems. And it's really mainly him, you know, that don't want to address it. And he's supposed to be the whole overgrown adult that ain't ready to be a father and almost 50 years old. You're not ready to be a father to me. And that's just what it is, you know. I don't know what it is, but a lot of fathers who have had kids and now, you know, we 30 almost. A lot of them still not ready to be dads. A lot of them still not ready to be fathers. Like, they just never wanted that type of responsibility. And that's just how I feel. Like, my father never wanted that responsibility of having me. He didn't want it. That's why my mom had me. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like when he had me, he felt like he had to have those moments just to be able to be like, I was there, you were here, you know? But I really wasn't, you know? But I don't want to talk to him no more. I really don't. And if I ever hear from him, I'm gonna be like, mediator, get a mediator, click. Like, literally, that's all I would do. I'd be like, get a mediator, call me, boop. Like, literally, that's what I would do. That's literally what I would do. And that's that. I unfriend his wife off of Facebook so that she don't see anything, so that if there's a possibility where she could be like, oh, look at Alexis, you know, on Facebook. No, I don't want him cut off all access, you know. And then I think even my auntie K was telling me about my auntie R setting up this family vacation next July to go somewhere tropical with all of the kids, you know, all my aunties and uncles with their kids, you know, me and all my first cousins and aunties and uncles. And I'm like, wow, that sounds nice, but I'm not going. And my auntie K is just like, no, you better be there. You better, you know. And I love my auntie K because she's that type of auntie that's like cool but serious at the same time. And she's like loving and a little bit tough, you know, but the right amount of everything, you know what I'm saying? And wait to just continue to build a relationship with my auntie K. But I was just like, yeah, I'm not going, you know. And I was like, none of my other siblings is gonna go either, you know. I can bet that. And then she was just like, it's crazy because it seemed like he doing the same thing that our dad was doing, basically saying like my grandpa came around too late, you know, late for everything. He wasn't really around. And then like at the last probably few years of his life, then he was around, and it's just like now he's gone. So it's just like, yeah, you know, I don't know what it'll take for my father to get it, but maybe he'll get it when it get near to his deathbed. I don't know. But normally that's when you don't want it to get to that point, when you're on your deathbed, because you wait for life to pretty much end for you to be regretful and remorse. That's still like, that's still not okay. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, yeah, you know, I'm good without my father in my life. I don't need him around. And yeah, it's just crazy. At 29, I'm still dealing with father issues. You know, and it's just like, I be leaving these people alone, but they can't leave me alone. Like, leave me alone. If you have watched this video from the beginning to the end, thank you so much. I love you so much, especially if you like this video. I love you a bunch. If you liked and you subscribed to this video, you are bomb. You're an amazing person. You have a beautiful soul and a beautiful heart. Hi. And yes, y'all, so I'm gonna wrap this video up. I'm gonna try my best, y'all, to record as much as I can and edit as soon as I can and get these videos out to y'all. Thank you, y'all. I will see y'all soon. And if there's anyone out there dealing with father issues, you are not alone. You can get through it. Get closer to God. Look at God as your father, because that's what I do. Because I know it's different having God, because God is not physically here with you. But, you know, I talk to God every day, you know, as my father. And I feel like it helps, you know, it helps. I lost my father, my real father figure, over 10 years ago. My grandfather, my granddad, my mom's father. He was the best father figure ever I could have ever had. And I wish I could still have him in my world today, because that man was an amazing father and grandfather. He was great to my mom as a father, and he was great to me as a grandfather. And I miss him every day, you know. It was never about money with him. He was always there, physically and emotionally. And he never complained about it. He wanted to do it. He wanted to be there. And he wanted to be a helping hand. And I commend any father, especially any black father out there, that's out there taking care of your kids, and that's being there for them and showing up for them, whether you're in the home or not. Show up for your kids, emotionally and physically, because I guarantee you that will matter more than money. Guarantee. Peace, y'all.
My sons might not fuck with you tomorrow. Can get my feelings hurt today. I won't give a fuck tomorrow. They fucked up by no credit score. I might be rich as fuck tomorrow. Every day the sun won't shine, but that's why I love